Welcome back to the Traders Network Show. We're broadcasting worldwide from Brussels, Belgium. I'm Matt Bird. My next guest needs little introduction on this show. He's been on numerous times. In fact, you've been a contributor, you've been a guest, you've been an expert correspondent. Ben Yablon, the co-founder of SALT. He also is a special advisor to the OECD on the blockchain policy side. Is that right?
That's correct.
Ben, welcome back.
Always a pleasure, Matt.
You know, yesterday I saw you walking around with our network vest. I loved it, sporting the.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that. It was a reminder of Davos last year.
It was that's an amazing time, But listen, here we are at the EU Parliament, right? We're here for the Blockchain for Europe Summit. You've seen Jason Kelly, who was just on here just a minute ago. You saw him on stage. You saw some of the commission leaders. Tell us a little bit about what's going on right now inside the main room.
Absolutely. You've got real thought leaders up there. Jason did a fantastic job of tying together a lot of kind of loose threads. There were quite a few lawyers on that panel, and Jason was not one of them. So he really served as a good counterbalance and was able to highlight some of the truly important projects that are being deployed right now. So there's he highlighted that there's a bit of hype around blockchain, but there are also some very real solutions that are being deployed. IBM has been in the center of a lot of those conversations.
Now, talking about real solutions, SALT, you guys are arguably the world leader in digital asset lending. I mean, you see pretty much every use case there is out there of a digital asset. How is what's happening today going to affect SALT and going to affect that industry moving forward?
It's a really interesting question. Part of what we're watching in the OECD context and here at the European Parliament is a taxonomy around how digital assets are classified. And that's vitally important for a lending company like SALT because the regulations vary. Depending on how a particular asset is categorized, we have different regulatory burdens. So seeing a harmonization take place from the global regulatory powers is a vital step in being able to scale SALT successfully.
There was rumor that not rumor, but there's some stuff going on in Africa and some of the Asian countries. We're seeing a little bit of the OECD-esque type of thought leadership going on. What's happening outside, let's say just outside the EU Parliament right now, outside the States? What's happening in the regions?
Particularly in Africa, we're seeing really broad-based acceptance and support of digital assets. And that really is an exciting opportunity, particularly for a company like SALT that wants to get into these emerging markets. OECD has really done a good job of putting together regulatory frameworks and hosting a lot of the African nations at OECD over the last year.
Now, speaking of the OECD, this is a different year. 2020, we're going to see probably some new additions to the board coming in later in the year. You've got Greg Mycroft, who's always amazing to listen to and watch. I enjoy the time I get to spend with him. He's so knowledgeable on all aspects of it. But you look at Australia and how they're leading things on the governmental adoption side of things. Mm-hmm. How is the OECD kind of interpersonalizing those use cases and what they're learning from coming out of that?
Sure. I think that supply chain is really the first thing that OECD is very successfully tackling and making sense out of how particular assets are going to enter the blockchain supply chain mechanism. So once you've got a verifiably good asset into a supply chain, that's when the power of blockchain becomes unbelievably special. If you've got assets that are questionable going into that supply chain, you've got unbelievable problems. So they're really taking a hands-on approach to making sense out of the regulations. And ultimately, these conversations will be elevated to the G20, and we will see some very positive developments this year.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, listen, Ben, I'm getting a wink, and then we have a head of state from a sovereign nation about to walk out through this back door, so I think we're going to have to wrap it up. Ben Yablon, thanks for coming on. I love to get an update from you later on what's happening with SALT. I hear there's some growth, some emerging growth times over there, and you guys are coming out with some new products, and I'd love to hear all about that in coming weeks.
Absolutely, Global custody, that's the word.
Global custody, I love that. You're watching the Traders Network Show, broadcasting on the Equities News Network. I'm Matt Bird. We'll be back right after these messages. Special thanks to our network affiliate partners, ABC, NBC, Fox, and CBS. Don't go away.